G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today on the video, I'll be doing two different journal pages, actually. I know, that's a lot. A whole two, if you can believe it. No, I'll be doing some journaling. The first part is from my little kind of play session that I had that eventually led into the lesson that I taught on Merry Mix Media, the live Christmas party that we had last Saturday. So if you were there at that, thank you, first of all, for being there. Thank you also for contributing and for making it such a wonderful experience. And then also, lastly, thank you for enjoying the fact that my mother unmuted herself and just started sharing that experience. Look, it probably came as no surprise to anyone that's done those virtual voyages before, but if my mum is around, she will probably unmute herself and just start chatting. I do have to remind her that it's work time sometimes, but for the most part, she's just got fun things to say, so I just let her go for it. Also, it was really interesting because having the Christmas party kind of feel to it, and then seeing, not only her but the rest of my family was there as well, and my our nephew Elijah was doing it. Elijah Lulu, he was doing the class alongside us. I had this weird moment. I think I said this afterwards as well. I had this weird moment where I was almost having this kind of disconnect, almost like a bit of a mental breakdown, because I was missing my family so much. I've been super homesick this year, and since I won't be able to get to Australia to see them for Christmas, to see them at home with like all my home Christmas set up, and to see them all together and playing arts and crafts. It's probably something you don't understand fully because I never really talk about it, but my family don't typically do that. I am usually the only one playing arts and crafts wherever I am. As my mum's gotten older, and since my gran passed away, my mum has kind of taken on some of that, and it's really, really interesting. A few years ago when I went to Southwest Rocks, usually around this time, this is when I'd be at home and we'd be going to Southwest Rocks. It's our annual family tradition to go. My gran was the one that would do all the colouring in with us, and she would sit down and, my gran was super creative. She would get all the costumes ready for the theme night barbecue between the whole family, and it was just a lot of all that creativity and all that expression I would go to gran to do all that with. So even dancing, my gran was kind of my dance mum. And so since she'd passed away, I I just kind of thought that there was no one in the family, in my immediate family anyway, that was, going to fill that role. That was kind of like, I guess, what I thought I would step into if we were going to try and, make sure that was covered within our family, which I think is important. I do think you need someone who, really validates and appreciates creativity, especially when you've got young children in the family. It's always a good thing to nurture, I think. Those are my personal beliefs. We don't need to go there. But I guess I'd never really explained that since my mum has become a grandmother to our nieces and nephews, it's been really interesting to see how she has shifted in kind of filling that role. And it was really unexpected because I just didn't think my mum even really cared about any of that stuff. I didn't think she didn't like it. Like, I thought, yeah, she'll watch my dancing if she's, not working, or if she's, got a spare moment. She'll come and watch, and she's supportive, and, there's never been a problem. I didn't think she didn't want me dancing or drawing or painting. I just didn't think she ever had time for it. And now, her being a gran, it's so weird because I see Elijah, specifically Elijah, because when I go home, I usually see him the most. But I see Elijah with my mum, and I see almost like myself and my gran, that same relationship kind of playing out. But it's so weird because it's my mum. Like, I know my mum is my mum. It's weird for me to see her in any other capacity, but to see her, kind of doing those same things that my gran did with me when I was a kid, even all throughout my teenage life, let's be real. My gran never really stopped colouring in with me well into my 20s. It was actually, it's just been just really nice. It's been a really, really heartwarming thing to see, and totally unexpected. It was just super funny that's just how things went. And so when we were doing the party, that was what I was seeing. I was seeing again this moment play out where my gran is my gran. Wow, I'm totally confused now. My mom is essentially, the gran to Elijah, and they're doing the lesson. They're doing this little snowman here. They're doing the elves that we did in the lesson, and I was seeing my whole, Christmas setup, my home Christmas setup, and it just was like a lot of emotions all at once, which is always pretty funny to deal with when you're live, quote unquote live. I'm live streaming, but I guess I could have turned the video off if I had to have a mental breakdown. But yeah, I thought I'd share that with you because I know I kind of mentioned it, and it was a bit of a half joke, but there was a bit of truth to it, and I thought it's probably important to say because it's a part of my story as well. That's something that I specifically used to share with Gran a lot, and it's been a really beautiful experience for me to watch my mother take on that role with her grandchildren, and by extension I get to be a part of that whenever I'm around as well, and I get to look forward to it. I was in the bit of a negative headspace for a little bit, being very sorry for myself that I couldn't get at home, but I have so much to be thankful for and so many blessings to count, and honestly I've switched it to let's not be sad that it's not going to happen now, let's just look forward to when it does happen in the future. So that's kind of how I dealt with it. It's been fine, it's been good, but ultimately we did have a wonderful Christmas party, and that was just a small section of it I thought I'd share with you today. If you didn't join us for the live party, there is a replay in the course, so you can still join Merry Mix Media 2020 and you can still learn how to do that snowman and an elf as well. And you can even see my mum unmute herself and start sharing. I said to Steve at the start, I was like, this was about a month and a half ago. I said, I want to give people the experience of the live workshops if they haven't had an opportunity, pardon me, to do one before. I've done a beta test, a while ago, and I know I've offered, Merry Mix Medias before, it wasn't new, and I do Instagram lives, but I thought, no, I want one specifically where people could see what we were doing in Virtual Voyage. Since that was a big thing that we did this year, I thought it'd be a really nice way to kind of include everyone in that if they wanted to be included in that. And yeah, it was actually pretty spot on. That was how we usually do it. Except the only thing I will say, pardon me, in Virtual Voyage we are fully decked out in costumes, and there's an opening number that Steve typically records some kind of music for and choreographs, and it's a lot. Like it's a lot. It's really ridiculous, intentionally and then also accidentally. So yeah, if you were looking into those kind of experiences, because we will hold Virtual Voyages next year as well, pardon me, go and check out Merry Mix Media if you haven't still. You will get probably almost an exact look at what it is, just on a really miniature scale. So, moving on to that, actually, that was kind of the second thing I wanted to talk about. This page, before I do start talking, though, is from Art Journaling the Magic. I just put my video on when I was doing the Happy Place art party. I was really enjoying the lesson. We're doing lots of Christmas sweets. This wasn't the lesson that was taught. I was kind of taking it off into a bit of a tangent and did Alice's teacups and lots of Christmas cakes and, cookies, gingerbread men, candy canes, little gumdrops and cakes. I just felt like doing that, and really like how it turned out. It's still that loose watercolor and pencil, sketchy, kind of primitive look, and it's something that I've been really enjoying lately. So I thought I'd just film that and let you have a look at that, since I let you look at how I would typically work through one of the Wizarding Artists Society chapter meetings. This is one of the Happy Place meetings, and that's all run through Art Journaling the Magic. And I was just a student. I wasn't teaching anything, just having a fun time. This is what I get to do when I'm on the calls with most of you, actually. Most of you guys are there. So I guess I could just put my video on and you could see it in the Zoom screen, but I thought I'd share it with YouTube as well, just in case, just for the people that don't make it to any of those kind of membership meeting spaces. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was exactly that, memberships, meeting spaces, Art Journaling the Magic, Virtual Voyage, all these kind of online retreats and experiences. I have had a long think about this, and it's been something that I've journaled a lot about, and so I haven't put together like a full-on list of things that I wanted to talk about, but one of the main things that I wanted to just say, and just say to you here and now, is that it's absolutely my intention to keep going with that in 2021. And it's just something that I wanted to mention, because I know that at this point, and without getting too far into anything that would lead to something controversial. I I know that at this point, a lot of people are seeing this kind of not new normal, like the old normal approaching, the quote unquote normal. You know, things are going to go back to the way they were. And a lot of people are getting really excited about that. But throughout my experience of Virtual Voyage and through being involved with Art Journaling the Magic, like with the Wizarding Artists Society and with the Art Journaling the Magic retreats, I have come to know this wider community that we share on a bit more of an intimate level through these live streams. You know, not only chatting as we're going through it, but also just flicking through the screens and just seeing you all there in your spaces and kind of hearing from you in, you know, personal messages and emails. And it's been really, really interesting to get to know some of the benefits of what happens when we gather in those spaces. And I just wanted to kind of commit to saying that, you know, it's not my intention to go back to the way things were, you know, pre-March for us here. I'm not trying to, you know, ditch my online experiences or to, you know, I'm not going to be happy that they, you know, I finally can go and do something in real life. Absolutely, I'm definitely going to explore all the options as we always do, you know, when things start to open back up again. But I am going to still make every effort to stay in those online spaces as well, because I came to know that a lot of people, which is just something, you know, selfishly I had never really considered before. Um, I know that a lot of people can't share in that real-time experience, in that in-person experience, and for a lot of different reasons that I had never even thought of as well. And I'm ashamed to say that I hadn't thought of them as well. For people that were struggling with physically not being able to attend, for reasons where, you know, maybe it just wasn't possible. Maybe there are some, you know, there's some obstacles in the way that aren't even just physical, but maybe perhaps even mental as well, or emotional. And so, in just relating to the community that I have come to become very close to over this past year, I just wanted to make sure that I at least said that, and validated that I'm not going to leave and I'm not going to just, you know, up and go because I can. That it's been really, really important for me to be able to connect with you this way, and that I really, really appreciate it, and I really, I think it's important, and I don't want you to fear that because we can all go back to the way things were, that we're going to just ditch you. Because I think in this, a lot of talk that I've heard go around, it's been, you know, oh, I've had to pivot, and Steve and I have talked about this before, and I, you know, say we've also been guilty of it. This is why I'm addressing it. It's that thing of saying, you know, oh, I can't wait until I can, you know, go back to blah, 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 blah. And yes, there's some validity to that. I'm not saying we can't enjoy and, you know, be excited for things that are going to happen. But it also sometimes sends a message of, you know, it's such an inconvenience to do what I'm doing right now, which is also not the case. And for some people it is. I just wanted to reiterate that for me it's not the case. I'm not inconvenienced by Virtual Voyage. I think it's been such an incredible experience. I'm not inconvenienced by doing online retreats and guest teaching for Art Journaling the Magic. It's been such a nice way to constantly connect with everybody and to not feel so alone. And I don't want people who, you know, will remain in that space of looking forward to these online experiences to think that, you know, we're all just kind of waiting with bated breath to get out of the responsibility of having to do them. I can't speak for everybody, but I can certainly say that I've seen Tangi's calendar for Art Journaling the Magic, and it is full for 2021. And I know that Steve and I have been discussing my schedule for 2021 and what that looks like and what his involvement looks like. And I'm absolutely still super psyched and excited to add to that, you know, some of the in-person experiences that we've put on pause when we can do so safely, but to also continue with the things that would keep us connected on a wider scale, to be able to connect with people who may never get to see us in person or may not have that opportunity or may be limited in some capacity to do that, but that we can still meet together in our online spaces and contribute and share that way. I think that's just something I had on my heart to say, so I wanted to make sure I at least said that before we went into the new year. And with that, these are my journal pages. I hope you have a wonderful day and have a great weekend. I'll see you again next week. Bye.